Good evening from Geneva, New York. We are here to listen to Colleen to talk about her experience at Hobart and Williams Colleges. The topic for tonight is graduation and career. Colleen, please introduce to us who you are, what you have done so far, and take us into your journey to graduate from Hobart and Williams Colleges and the kind of career that you would like to pursue in the future. Time is yours.
Oh, so my name's Colleen. I'm a senior at Hobart Williams Smith Colleges, and I'm a double major in international relations and political science, and then I also have a minor in music. So the past few years has kind of led me to be a peace activist. So I did an internship in Washington, D.C. a few years ago with a peace activist group called Code Pink, and that kind of started like my journey into learning more about human rights and peace. So after that, I started taking more courses relevant to peace studies and to human rights. I've always been interested in human rights and I had taken courses in that before, but that's really what started me on that path. And then I studied abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark, 2 years ago, and then I ended up going back to intern for them. To intern for a human rights organization in Copenhagen, Denmark. And the organization is supposed to provide more access to education for children in Pakistan. So what Global Aliyah Foundation does is very similar to that organization, which is how I got involved with this. And I definitely want to dedicate my life to peace activism, and it's networking like this and talking online to people of different cultures that really fosters peaceful relations. So after I graduate, I'm graduating with a degree in international relations and political science. I'm taking a little bit of time off. I'm going to be working for Professor Anwar over the summer, and after that, I'll be applying for a bunch of jobs in Washington, D.C. And I hope to be working for a human rights organization, like a nonprofit organization, hopefully doing some type of peace work, like an organization like Amnesty International or a smaller organization like that in Washington, D.C. But I'm taking a little bit of time off that before that because college has been very busy and very stressful. But after that, that's really what I hope to do, at least for a little bit of time. Definitely like dedicating my life to human rights and peace is my goal. Eventually, I want to go back to graduate school. So even if it's just working for a few months while I'm applying for graduate school, and I plan on getting my master's and then my PhD, hopefully in political science, but I want to concentrate on peace studies and human rights. So ultimately, I want to be a professor because I've seen my amazing professors like Professor Anwar and Professor Kofawi, and they've inspired me, and just seeing that the work they have done and what I could be able to do as a professor is really inspiring. And I think a lot of American students, at least like a lot of my friends, are kind of on not like the same path as me as far as like areas of study, but I think a lot of my friends are taking time off right after their undergraduate and then are eventually going on to jobs or graduate school. So I think that's generally the path that many take. But yeah, it's really been my internships and my schoolwork have really inspired me to dedicate my life to human rights activism. Yeah. I don't know what else you want me to talk about, if there's any specific questions.
What moves you into human right area?
So I've always really been interested in politics, but I wasn't really sure how to approach politics. And a lot of the courses I had my first year were religious studies courses and other courses focused on genocide and human rights, and that's what really inspired me. And I think as I started to get into peace activism, I was kind of I didn't really know what to expect when I had the internship with the peace activist group in Washington, D.C. It was really seeing like human rights violations and social injustices, and seeing them in person really motivated me to keep doing what I'm doing. So it was really, I was like interested in it before, but I think deciding to dedicate my life to it, it was really seeing it in person and knowing what I wanted to do to help stop those injustices.
Tell us more about your project on your honor project on music and peace.
Yeah. Yeah, so for my senior honors thesis, I did a project on how music can aid in conflict transformation. And so, like, basically, like, the field of conflict resolution is very multifaceted, very broad. And I applied a model of music to be used in conflict transformation and conflict resolution. So I specifically used the Israel-Palestine conflict as a case study. And there's one musical group that is trying to bring peace in the Middle East. And so I kind of critique that model and propose my own suggestions of how music can be used in conflict resolution. So that definitely solidified my commitment to peace. And it was a really cool project because I never really thought about music and peace before, but it's very prevalent, and there's a lot of cool things to do with it.
So what are the three or two or one recommendation or recommendations out of your research project? It sounds very interesting and very promising.
Yeah, so I actually had 5 suggestions in
Oh,
the
five.
end.
Okay.
Yeah, 5, but there were really 4 of them that I concentrated on. So one of them was an adaptation of the case study that I studied. So it's called the symbolic model, and it was like Arab musicians playing with Israeli musicians on stage. So it really symbolized what peace should look like in the end, like at the end of a peaceful resolution of the conflict in Israel and Palestine. So um, that model is already in place, but I kind of critiqued it and said what I would change about it. And the second one is using music in formal peace processes. So a peace process like the Camp David Accords or something like that. It would be instituting music in that to encourage an attitude of listening between the leaders, because Israeli leaders and Palestinian leaders don't listen to each other and listen to Palestinians as much as they should. And music has such an emotional power to it that it could be instituted in peace processes. The third one was instituting music in to inspire youth. So, like, I was focusing on how this generation of leadership might not be the way to go, so we have to focus on the future and focus on our youth. And music is a fun way to get youth interested in peace. And then my fourth suggestion was inspiring oppressed groups. So specifically talking about like music and protest and comparing it to like music in the civil rights era in the United States, and just using that to uplift and empower people, particularly the Palestinian people. And then my fifth was about grief and reconciliation, but that's after the conflict is over and can't really be used right now. Yeah.
You are
So there's a lot.
also involved. That sound all the solutions are terrific. I hope they could be implemented, right?
Yeah, they could be. I hope so.
Um, you are very active in a lot of students clubs. Tell us about your activities there.
Yeah, so one of the clubs I'm most involved in, I'm the president and student organizer for our Peace Action Club. So I've been student organizer for a year, and we've held a lot of different events on campus. So one of the events we held was a panel on the Syrian refugee crisis. So I got 2 professors on campus and an activist from upstate New York to talk about the Syrian refugee crisis and the Syrian war in general and the refugee crisis in general. And it was really successful, and I think it really sparked a conversation on campus about refugees and just being welcoming to refugees. And we also had a few people from the local Greek Orthodox Church come in and talk about their efforts to resettle Christian Syrian refugees. So that was really cool to do. And then the second major event we did this year was on Palestinian refugee identities. So we held a dinner and got together a bunch of people who were associated with Palestine in some way. So it was like 4 students who were either born in Palestine or their parents were Palestinian, and then there was one professor who was from Jordan, but she's Palestinian, and she was a refugee from Jordan and ended up, or she was a refugee and ended up living in Jordan, but she's here on a Fulbright, and so we all got together and just shared like personal narratives, which I think was really powerful, and everyone really seemed to love the event, and it went really well. So those have been our 2 major events all year. But we get together, like it's a small club, and we get together and talk about peace issues each week, and we're associated with Peace Action New York State, which is a larger organization in the U.S., and I'm also involved with other organizations on campus, like our Human Rights and Genocide Symposium, which does very similar things, and Colleges Against Cancer, which raises awareness about cancer treatment and raises funds for them each year for the American Cancer Society. So, yeah, that's a lot of what I do on campus.
How do you keep all of this together?
It's hard sometimes.
Studying and doing activism and many other things.
Yeah, I mean, I really just have to like treat everything as like enjoyable for me, because everything that I do is really fun. I can't really think of it as work, even because like so many of my classes, it's stuff that I enjoy. So I just have to like think of it as fun stuff. But sometimes it can get really stressful, and I just need to not get down and stay. Like, I stay busy, obviously, but you need to have some downtime in between to try to cope with having such a busy schedule. So it's tough, but it's manageable.
Okay. So, to what extent your college education prepare you for your next career?
I mean, I think my education at Hobart William Smith has been really great for preparing me for a career. I think mostly it was the interdisciplinary approach, the fact that I could take so many different classes that wasn't necessarily focused on one thing, and it really opened up my interest to so many different things. Because like there were some classes on campus that I took that I wasn't really interested in before, but after I took them, just because I was trying to really take anything I could, that's really where I got interested in peace and human rights, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I didn't have those courses.
So what are the key success in preparing for our career, in your opinion?
I think you have to be very compassionate. You have to really see from a lot of different people's perspectives, and because a lot of like the situations I study and learn about and I'm involved with in activism, I haven't really personally experienced them, but you really have to be open-minded and be open to differences and really try to see where everyone comes from and just be really compassionate. And I think that's really what it comes down to being a peace and human rights activist. You have to see things from any kind of angles.
I really like your point. I think sometimes we forget that the goal of education is really to make us a better human being, right? So
Right,
when
yeah.
I mean, career is
Yeah,
important.
no,
By
totally.
the end of the day, education is for for us to become better as human, you know,
Right,
we
exactly.
could function better as a citizen in our place, the citizen of the world, and being good human being basically.
Right, exactly. And then education is both ways. Like I learned so much from people I talked to and through my activism. Like I learned so much about situations that I never really knew about before. So I think that's really how education is.
I think it goes both ways.
Yeah.
I learn from my students all kind of new information, new skills, new knowledge that they bring to the classroom too.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
think by the end of the semester we grow as a student, as a teacher. That is
Oh,
why I love
definitely.
my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
um, okay, I'm gonna open to questions. I may translate for you, or you can try to say it in Bahasa or in English. Okay, who is going to ask first? Rizal, do you have question?
Ya, ya Bu, eh,
Okay,
pakai bahasa Indonesia gak apa-apa?
boleh. Ya.
Ya, eh, pengen bertanya saat oh, saat
Bapak said in English. No, that's okay. You can try in Bahasa first, and then I can help you too.
Oke, thank you. Eh, ketika kan sudah lulus dari sudah ketika masih berkuliah itu apakah fashionnya sudah tahu bahwa dia akan kerja di sesuai dengan dengan jurusannya gitu?
Um, Rizal was asking you when you started your school, did you know what you like to do? When you were a student, when you are studying, when you are doing the study, do you know what you would you like to do? When you are about to graduate, do you know what you are about to do? So basically, please tell us take us to the beginning of the journey, the middle of it, and the end of it.
Okay. Yeah. So in the beginning, coming to college, I was definitely interested in politics and human rights, but I didn't really know what to do with that and how to like navigate it. But I took a few courses in the beginning that really sparked my interest, and that really got me on the right path. So I think just bringing you through like my college career, I just took like so many different courses that it really expanded my interest, and I realized that human rights and politics is not just political science classes. So I was taking like religious studies, I was taking philosophy, I was taking performing arts like music, and I really realized how everything was related. So now going into my career, I'm not completely sure where I will be and what exactly I'll be doing. I have like broad interests too. Like I have so many different interests, and because peace and human rights are very broad subjects, and I'm interested in so many particular things as well. Um, but I think like from where I was going into college and where I am now, like I'm so much further along as far as what I'm thinking about doing and where I'd like to be. So I guess I think that answered it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and a lot of time it is very common, for all of us. Even we are as parents, we are not sure. We don't always know. But you know what? I'm
Right.
I'm very grateful that I don't know my future. Like if I was
Yeah.
Colleen, I'm serious. If I was your age at that particular time in Indonesia, I didn't even speak English. If I knew my
Right.
career would be, I wouldn't push myself harder. I would not work hard because I knew the
Right.
end of it. Because I didn't know precisely. Because I didn't know. I push myself harder. I work hard.
Right.
I dream big. If your dream if your dream doesn't scare you, it means that your dream is not big enough. So that's okay to
Right.
not
Yeah.
know, because
Yeah. No,
if you
totally.
knew what you are doing, what you were doing right now, that's it. That's the end of your dream. Because you don't
Yeah.
know, then you are looking for better opportunity, for better job, better school. So I'm with you.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
there is
Hmm.
in essence, in a nutshell, um, we don't always know what we want to do, but because we don't know, then we are trying harder. It is also for you. You may not know what you want, but that's okay. Because when you don't know, you want to know and you work harder. You would be working harder.
Right.
Yeah. Busri, do you have any question?
Yes, I have. Hi, Colin. How are you?
Hi. Good.
Uh, I heard a lot of what you are saying today, and that's really touching. You are really care about human rights, about humanity, and others. That's really great for teenagers. Like all the teenagers today have no what's that? Something to is care for other people. For example, yeah, lots of teenagers today they only having fun with their own lives without taking care of sorry don't care about the others persons like that, and that's really touching. uh, yeah, Colin, um, do you ever plan for your future, but what you want to do? Sorry, what you want to do? And as I know, when I was study at my college, uh, I don't know what to do at that time, and I'm going for applying job to a different company, and most of them refuse me, and I don't know why. At that time, uh, my expertise is English, but I don't know. They don't trust me for new freshman graduation. We here in Indonesia should have experience first before going for working, and that's really hard for us as a fresh graduation. So, what you are going to do when you are facing like that situations? Hello, Colin.
Yeah, I think I heard like most of that. But if you're not sure what to do, basically like advice for that, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Busri was praising you for what you do. It is
Okay.
very admirable that a young individual like yourself is so into human rights issues, justice issues, and Busri was right that a lot of time young individuals like yourself like to have fun. They don't like
Yeah.
to think the hard stuff like how do we promote human rights? How do we engage with justice issues? How do we promote justice? So that is very admirable on your part to do what you are doing. Um, Busri also was asking you about the fact that uh, we try hard to apply for jobs and sometimes they don't always take us into considerations. What is your take on that?
Um, so I think for applying to jobs, at least like what I'm going through right now is just like doing a wide range of stuff. And I think what you said, like they're just not considering you for a job. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I mean, and for me, like I just keep working to add different stuff to what I do. So like I take on different volunteering opportunities, and there's always like the opportunity to like learn a new language or learn a new skill that you can add to your resume that you give to employers. So I think it's always just about improving yourself. But I think like having, even though you might have like a specific interest, try to like think of like anything you would be interested in doing, and like sending out job applications for that, because that's what I'm going through right now. Like a lot of the organizations I've turned in job applications for, it's around like social justice and human rights and politics, but it's very broad. Like I've applied for anything from like peace activism to like legal internships to like reproductive rights and women's rights. So it's really just having about like just having broad interest and kind of expanding your horizon. And even some jobs that I'm not really interested in working for, I will submit an application, because you never know what could happen. But I also really like your question about what we can do for young people, or not really your question, but just your comment about how young people, it's like really hard to get them engaged. And one thing that I've learned, especially in this past year with Peace Action, with volunteering and working for them, I've noticed that sharing like personal narratives and stories is really good for encouraging like conversations about social justice, because it's really when people start to hear personal stories and things that have happened to people personally that it gives them to think more open-mindedly and to have different perspectives, and just like I mentioned earlier, just to be more compassionate, because I think that's where human rights and peace really comes into play, is when you're compassionate. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I really like your point. Yeah. And I think that's very important to engage youth into current movement. So Busri, when it comes to job, and I think this is true for everybody, we just have to keep trying, and until we get one. And I really
Yeah.
like what Colin said, because you have to try harder, even if you apply for a job that you don't like. That's okay. Sometimes we have
Yeah.
to subject ourselves. No, I'm serious. We have to subject
Yeah.
ourselves to things that we don't know, and we have to
Right.
push our comfort zone.
Yeah.
When we push our comfort zone, we know that we are trying. Otherwise, life is going to be too comfortable, and you don't learn. When you are too comfortable, you don't learn basically. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
a really good question. There is
Yeah.
going back to you. What is your next question? Try in English this time.
Okay,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Uh, I have a question. One, sorry. One, 1 years. I will, apa kuliah gitu ya? Apa bu?
Okay.
Yeah, I will, and then I want to going in bird uh, to college in American. Hmm,
Yeah. That's great.
Can you give me a suggestion for it?
Yeah. So I think when it comes time for your college application, really talk about personal stories. I think college admissions really likes to hear personal stories and how you've overcome obstacles and what you're really interested in doing, and how like certain things that have happened in your life have like driven you to want to go to college, and specifically maybe like in the United States, and what opportunities it would give you to go to college in the United States, and really like drawn like a lot of the different things you've done. At least like coming to Hobart William Smith, they really like seeing like diverse students who have a wide range of interests. I don't know if you're interested in like, this is a very small school in the United States, and there's a lot of bigger universities in the United States as well. But I think it really goes for any university, and saying just to like draw on like all of your interests and really anything you've done, just so they know how like well-rounded of a student you are.
I think that's a very good answer, Colin. From Indonesia, it's a little
Yeah.
bit complicated because in America, we are preparing our students to apply by junior year, right? It is a year
Yeah.
process, and in Indonesia, students apply for universities after they graduated from a high school. For instance, when the government announced the date for the passing of high school, mostly high school exam, then they began the application process. So it's a very different system, but it's doable. I don't think it's hard. It's doable. It's just complicated. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any more questions?
What
Oh,
is
there is.
good
Yeah.
idea? What is good idea if I'm going to college in US? What is good idea?
Yeah, it's a good idea. Yeah. It means you
Yeah.
can do it. Yeah. Don't you think, Colin?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It would be
Yeah.
great.
It will be great. Yeah. And you can
Yeah.
do it.
I mean,
Yeah, you can do it.
I mean, thank you.
Kalian, I think Jeriza wants to know how to go abroad. Maybe what is your suggestion? Maybe to go to college to USA. Is that what you mean, Jeriza? How?
Yes.
Yeah.
How to, sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah,
Like what
how
to,
to study how to study in America.
like when do you get to college or before?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Before.
think Busi is it to go to college?
Yeah, Jeriza wants us to give him advice for uh, what he must do if he wants to go abroad to the United States for college. I think like that.
Okay. I think like I'm under the impression that it's very different studying in Indonesia and the United States, just about like your everyday preparation. Like I think a lot of universities like focus on discussions and like talking a lot. So I think like definitely improving English skills is like a top priority, and I mean you're almost there. It's coming along really great. I think that's definitely step one, and just really improving reading, writing. I don't know exactly what you're interested in, but I think like studying a wide range of subjects is really important. Did I miss anything else, do you think?
No, I think you're right. For someone like the Rizal, if he is interested to go to university in America, English comes first. Really, studying English comes first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like of everything that he needs to do is to study English. So
Yeah.
and it's doable. I think the mentoring goal is really to foster English conversation, to think in English, to dream in English, to operate in English. And I think it will come along. Yeah.
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 Okay, okay. Uh, Miss Colin, uh, sorry. Uh, but you are saying from first that you are really interested in humanity, like music for humanity. Uh, how is the application for music uh, in humanity in conflict area like that? Is that possible to do that in conflict area?
Is it complicated to like talk about music in conflict resolution or like conflict areas?
Like doing music, sorry, organizing music when you want to, yeah, I mean, your goal is peace for everyone, but if it is doing in conflict area, uh, what kind of situation that we should face in that place in that conflict area? I think it's really um, apa sih? Scary, scary.
So how
Yeah.
to apply music in conflict areas?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of had to address like my position on conflict resolution to begin with, and specifically on the case in Palestine and Israel. And it's really difficult in conflicts to be like open-minded because like clearly in every case I'm going to be on like one side. So like in the Israel-Palestine conflict, I'm biased as a Palestinian human rights activist. So applying music in that is very difficult, and especially when you want to bring peace to an area but you realize like how peace needs to happen. But yeah, like why peace isn't happening in Israel and Palestine is like because of both sides, but I'm more focused on one side. So I think what music really taught me to do is be open-minded to both sides of the conflict. And it is kind of scary to think about that. And I kind of came into this project with a really like romantic, idealized like version of music and conflict resolution. Like I was thinking like, oh yay, music is gonna solve everything, but it's not. And I just have to like be aware of like the political like implications of any kind of music. And so I think like applying music in conflicts, it's very complicated, and you have to really be aware of all sides and how music can affect all sides. I could talk about this for a while, but
Okay, it's okay. We here in Indonesia is yeah. Sometimes we are doing this music, and although we are in this area, music can take some troubles. Like when you touch others, and the other side is getting mad, and they fight like that. That's music in uh, our society, but that's all.
yeah, like I think, especially with something like that, and that was one of the problems in my project and in my suggestions that I was questioned about when I defended my thesis. And it's just like the types of music that you use. Like a few of the groups I looked at use like Western popular music or Western classical music, and that can be problematic, but then also using like folk music of different groups in that conflict area can get really complicated because it's so like ingrained in the culture. So it's tough all around. But I think like you really have to use like a combination of all kinds of music and all different sorts of like approaches. So
Okay. Uh, in here in Indonesia, I think you are really like in volunteer maybe in something. Uh, we here in Indonesia maybe need more than that because lots of in masyarakat pedalaman itu apa Bu? Society, yeah, traditional society not sometimes didn't care about education maybe for higher, for example, for a woman to go to college. Some of us, maybe for their parents, they will change it because maybe they think that women should stay in home, not going for college. Some of us have like punya pikiran seperti itu, Bu. Yeah, and also in masyarakat pedalaman, they need our help too in education. They want to join. Some of them they want to join in education, but registration maybe tidak mendukung. Seperti itu. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm still like thinking a lot about this project and how like problematic music can be in a conflict. So I really like talking about it, and your feedback on it is really interesting. Specifically because like I haven't really looked at Indonesia specifically with music. So yeah, I think that's really cool to hear about that and some suggestions for future research on that.
Maybe teaching will be teaching children in apa sih masyarakat daerah pedalaman, because Indonesia are large area and some of them really need our help for supporting them in education, to help them to give them proper education like that. I think education will be the right place to apa sih Ibu itu aja. Martin, can you translate it? Halo, Martin.
Okay, hello.
Yeah.
So in Indonesia, many women are not educated yet, and many places do not get adequate educational opportunities. And she mentioned about pedalaman meaning in places where they are less developed in comparison to places in Java, for instance, that are more developed. Fadila, welcome. Lala, I saw you coming in and joining us. Welcome. Do you have any question, Lala?
Lala, hello. I think she is not joined with us yet.
Oh, okay. That's okay. So, Colin, about music in Indonesia, it is big. I don't know if music is used for conflict resolution, but I knew that music in Indonesia is used for political tool. During the election, a lot of musicians are invited to be part of the team for recruiting the masses, in America, musicians are very careful. They don't want to be associated with the campaign or the candidate, right? That's
Right.
very different in Indonesia. It's very, very different. So a lot of time it becomes the tool of propaganda in a way. Uh,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
yeah, very different. But I think,
Do you think like music plays a part in like inspiring young people too? Because I was wondering about that in Indonesia.
say it
Like
again,
kind of
sorry,
like
the motorcycle was so.
like if music kind of provides like a fun way for young people to get involved in like peace and education, because that's a lot of what I focused on in my project is getting the youth involved with music.
Um, I don't do research on that area.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think so. Not it's not there yet. Uh, um, maybe for some, but that is not very common so far.
Okay.
Uh,
Do you think it
yeah.
could be possible for it to happen?
Yes. Definitely, yeah, it's possible. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
I think how could music promote peace? That is a very interesting question. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's possible in the future. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Lala, do you have question? Lala, do you have question?
Bisala, hello.
Oh, can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Conversation and I don't know because I already know the time of this conversation is about gradation.
Pick up.
I can't hear you, Lala.
Oh,
Try
should
try
I repeat?
again.
Try again. Okay. Can enggak po? Uh, can you repeat what before we are both of you talking? Uh, I think the most and talking about career life. I'm sorry for coming late.
We cannot hear you.
Oh no.
Pick up.
Hello, Bisala. Hello. Hello, Bisala. We cannot hear you. Miss Evelyn, maybe we should go back to our topic about our preparation to the after graduation. How about we share our experience after we finish our college? Hello.
I heard part of that. Very like echoey.
I have to share about my experience first. Colin, is that okay?
Yeah.
When I was graduate from my college, I don't know what I should do, and most of the company require for the employee should have at least 1 year's experience, and at that time I have no experience. So I'm trying to get anything that I can do maybe for to earn money, such as like marketing. I like marketing. At that time, I don't know how to speak to people because I'm so shy. I'm a very shy girl. Maybe after I take marketing job, uh, like visiting from home to home, knocking their door, and really very from that experience, I learned about how to face other people, how to speak with them properly, and I could speak with them very well. Before that, I can speak to them properly. I was nervous and I always shake when I see other people. That is maybe one thing that I should learn from marketing field. That I can speak to other people, so that I can I'm not nervous again facing other people. After that, I'm going to another company, uh, not talking from door one door to door anymore. I just stay in one place and still doing telemarketing, and that's really fun. But after years, maybe more, maybe I feel that that is not my field. I don't like marketing at all. Even though maybe the salary is high at that time, I decided to resign because I don't like it anymore. My heart is really want to follow my desires. That is teaching children. I really like teach children. So I decided for marketing and do taking my job in small school and teach them. That is my experience when I was just new fresh graduation.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of complicated when you don't have a lot of experience,
Yeah,
but you're trying to have like an entry level job,
yeah,
and but try to like gain experience on the way. That's kind of what I'm going through right now, is because I'm applying for a lot of like beginner jobs that it says like 3 years of experience. So that's really tough. But I think you might just, I mean, what you had to do with working in marketing, that may be like completely necessary in order to move on to something. Unfortunately, which is kind of, yeah, it's unfortunate, but I think that like may have to be necessary. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think like even doing something with marketing, it like you gain skills necessary for other things.
yeah. That's the benefits for
Yeah, I agree with Colin. It is okay to basically like or dislike what we do. What is important is how we respond toward it. Um, I tell my students that they are going to have 7 lives, 7 jobs in their life. So it's okay to not like or to like something and then move on. Why not? I'm gonna go back to Colin's point earlier. We have to challenge ourselves and we have to also expose ourselves to things that we are not comfortable doing because that is the way we learn. And in my opinion, all experiences coming from your own activism, yeah, from your volunteerism, would be very important to find a job because employers will draw a parallel between who you are as a person and who you are as an employee.
Right.
There is a correlation there. So you may not have the first job, the first entry job, but you have been doing 3 years of voluntary works, and the 3 years voluntary works are worth much more in comparison to an entry job. Because the employer would see the parallel. If you are a hardworking person in your volunteerism, you could be a hardworking person in your own job too. Because creativity is there. So I would say that we should not feel discouraged for things that we do or we don't do. What is very, very important is that our experience matters. Don't you think, Colin?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Well,
Hello Mia.
I would like to thank all of you, Busri, Lala. And Lala, can you introduce the girl next to you? Where is Lala? Well, anyway, I would like to thank Colin for giving us the opportunity to listen to you, to talk to you, to share with us your experience in life. We are really looking forward to take you to Indonesia. And in Indonesia, you will meet all these beautiful ladies and handsome guys in our office. Inshallah. Colin, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Thank you for volunteering for us tonight.
Yeah, no problem. Love
Okay,
doing it.
goodbye,
Hello, Mia.
guys. Have a good evening. And have a good day.
Hello Mia. It's Colin.